My name is Priscilla Williams. I'm originally from Greenport, New York. I am married and currently living in Flanders, New York. At the beginning of my career, I was a secretary assistant for a Plum Island Animal Disease Laboratory. I also attended school to become a nurse's assistant. I trained in the hospital and local nursing home where I received top grade, but it wasn't what I was called to do. I am a retired preschool teacher's assistant. I also taught as a UPK teacher. I have HCM and I have had genetic testing, which came back negative. The doctor still instructed me to have my children request their doctors to test them. I contacted my children and explained what I knew about HCM and how it is a genetic disease and it is important for them to be tested. My son Terrence and daughter Melissa stated they had their doctors test them and that they didn't have HCM. I was elated that they were supposedly okay. For me, taking a shower, flight of stairs, and walking from my car to a building was a challenge. I would have palpitation, dizziness, chest pains, and I felt tired all the time. Despite how I felt, I continued to perform my daily tasks to keep my household operating and to hold down a job. I just wasn't going to let this condition stop me from doing what I needed and wanted to do. I had a family emergency, which involved a lot of traveling. I took 2 flights from Oklahoma to Virginia, then from Virginia to New York. I went back to Virginia by car, and then I returned home to New York. Upon arriving home, I helped call my husband, who has Parkinson's disease, into the house and unloaded the car. Once I started retrieving the messages from my phone, I hit the floor. I fainted. I never felt doing those tasks was too much for my heart. I was wrong. My chest pain started to become severe, so awful that I was very much concerned. I didn't understand the seriousness of HCM until my chest pains became unbearable. A couple of steps from my car onto a building would bring on the worst attack. It would feel like someone was throwing bricks into my chest, and I couldn't catch my breath. Once I got where I needed to be, I would stop and try to get my breathing under control, and luckily I always did. I did fear that maybe one day I would not be able to. Even though my daughter Melissa was born with a heart murmur and had a cardiac catheterization at the age of 2, I was told she would outgrow it and that there was nothing to worry about. Both of my children lived in Oklahoma State. Melissa's marriage was having problems, so she moved in with her brother and his family until getting her own space. In August of 2017, my daughter Melissa was found dead on her kitchen floor by her roommate. She was only 37, and she had only lived in the apartment for 2 days. The apartment was located on the second floor, and listed on the death certificate for cause of death was HCM. Melissa always had me concerned about her health because it was in a poor state of condition. She was always in and out of the hospital, but HCM was never detected. I don't feel there are words for how overwhelmed with grief and sadness I was to learn that HCM was undetected throughout Melissa's health care. I took the certificate to my doctor, and he also couldn't believe that it was missed in her health care. He immediately composed a letter requesting family members to be tested. My siblings, all but one, has been tested. After having alcohol septoablation, my condition has improved. I do feel a lot better. I am able to walk a distance, cut my grass, climb a ladder to wash windows, and much more without having to stop so often. I am currently enrolled in Yale University Clinical Study for Lifestyle and Exercise in HCM. Thank you for listening to my story. I do appreciate the time to share my experience, what I'm going through.